intros went through. Hey, copycat. Yes, type in CERN July 5th. Did you see the art and dance display with this long tube and a guy who looked like Ball in a costume? He looked like he was drunk flipping out. That's a whole nother subject, man. But that's, yeah, that'll be interesting. Hey, Mimi, how are you? Do I have contact info? Yes, the roamingprepper at gmail.com. If you check on my main link for my account, it should be in the contact info in there. Hey, Mr. Brad, Prepper Cowboy. Hello, Mr. Morgan. And the Watchman, yes, it's times are really bizarre. Lucky, hello, hello. And okay, good deal. Yeah, my email is over there. Let's see, Triple Threat. We were having a very cool conversation on text about shooting ranges and different types of training. So we're trying to work out a schedule. Probably looks like sometime in late July or early August. We'll have Triple Threat on my channel, and we'll go through. We might do actually her. I got Texas Red Leg coming in this Thursday, and then Off the Wall Prepper, and we might do a panel once everyone gets back from 4th of July vacation. So yeah, hold on a second here. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. That's what we're going to talk about because I think the what we're witnessing is basically it's like the Middle Ages. We're witnessing a war of very powerful people, and all of us are getting caught in the middle. And Bitter Critter, hello. Thank you, Lucky. And yeah, it's man, there is stuff going on that's just more fodder for those lemmings. Yeah, it's it's weird stuff. So I think we've beaten the whole economic thing to death, right? We have inflation, the cost of fuels and everything else. Hey, Texas surplus. Um, and I've been speaking with the local ranchers, local farmers, logistics people, and everyone's seeing the same thing, right? Everyone's going, "What are we doing? Why has this gotten so screwed up?" Uh, it feels like the wheels have fallen off. You would think our leaders would be focused on their people, like, oh, let's make sure we have food, let's make fuel affordable, whatever the hell they're trying to do. They seem instead intent on causing a catastrophe somewhere else that's going to fall on us. Um, in reality, we are eating now off of stuff that was harvested and produced 5, 6, 8, 10 months ago. The stuff that's all screwed up now, that's not getting planted, that's in Europe or failed crops in Brazil or whatever it is, that hasn't hit the stores yet. That shortcoming is going through the supply chain, and that's going to hit us toward the end of the year, I think. And I could be wrong, but I did want to throw a few financial analyst talking points just to give us some perspective before I go into the are they escalating part of this live, because I think it gives us some context as to why I think what the hell are they doing and why are they screwing with this. So let me see if I can get, okay. This should have audio. It's only a couple of minutes if you can. Exactly. Right. And when it's gone, then what? Filled potato harvest from this year hasn't. No. And I heard corn and wheat are struggling. There are cornfields out here in this part of Texas, and wheat, and the fields don't look awesome. I might take a drive out into the farm fields past the wind farms. Uh, that's another one. Deuce, that's absolutely true. Tires 140-degree heat. It's going to absolutely devastate product. And that's something to watch for. Target and a few other stores, there have already been reports that people are buying product, especially Target, because they got all mouthy with everyone. Um, and the products that they have now, they're trying to get rid of because they've been sitting in shipping containers for 6 months. Um, no worries. Thank you for joining us anyway, Copycat. Yeah, but and you're absolutely right, Watchman. There's a point where it doesn't matter what you pay if it's not there. The money, what's the money going to? And I think we're at that. We're going to get to that point. Correct. Lucky's. Hey, Prep Rebel, how are you? And hold on, I'm having a technical issue here. There we go. Um, yeah. So yeah, and it certainly will. There are. And I have a short coming out soon, but I'm glad you made it, Prep Rebel. Um, one of the one of the things I'm noticing, and I thought it was just locally. We've had a Sam's Club out here before I even moved out here from my relo, and they only recently tore up the whole front of the store and put bollards, which are the vertical posts to prevent like a delivery truck from accidentally hitting the doors, right? Um, on both entrance and exit doors, which they've never had before. So I said, somebody probably screwed up, backed a truck into a delivery door or something. Talked to my sibling over actually a couple of folks I spoke to. One is out in New Orleans area, and he noted that all of these stores started putting in reinforcements to the doors. Normally, you see them on like CVS and Walgreens on the corner because like the meth heads like to break in and steal the Sudafed or whatever the hell they steal to make meth. Hey, Rip, welcome, welcome. Uh, Kentucky Survival, Ola. But he said he noticed several stores, including his Sam's and Costco, both putting bollards up, and they've never had it before. And he said we live, an hour from New Orleans. Like, that it's not unheard of. We get gangbangers come up from there and rob shit up here. But he said I've never seen that before. Um, so are the stores reinforcing? Has their insurance group or their risk assessment group inside the corporation suddenly decided, you know what? There's an imminent risk of our stores getting broken into in mass and getting raided. I mean, because you think about it, Sam's, other than electronics, are you going to steal a bunch of green beans? If I'd have said that 3 years ago, you'd laugh at me. Well, guess what? 6 months from now, people may go in and steal all the green beans. You don't know. So I'm going to run this video real quick, and there's just a couple of these to give us a little bit of context as to what we're going to get into or what we're seeing. So let me know if you have audio.
Yeah, don't think any of us in 1966 thought we were going to wait 16 and a half years to have a loss of 76.5% in the stock prices. We didn't. And none of us imagined the downturn that could have occurred, that did occur. These are things you really want to take close focus on. These are the things that really matter. There's nothing I think can bring an economy to its knees faster than high inflation, high tax rates, over-regulation, excessive government spending. I think today's economy looks worse than it did under Jimmy Carter. We had a political revolution that led to a long period of prosperity, Reagan through Clinton, which was just phenomenal. And I hope the political process does that again, but it's got a long ways to go before that happens. And unfortunately, the victims of a bad economy are almost always not the people who caused it.
So did you guys catch that? That's this economist who's been around for a while actually swears up and down that we are having a worse economy now than we did under Carter, adjusted for inflation and all the other changes since then. Yeah, Joe, it's smash and grab, but it's not happened out in the rural areas, and not in a Sam's. You know, it's like I've seen it happen in pharmacies or liquor stores or gun shops. In a Sam's, uh, yeah, there is more armed security in a lot of these stores as well. I'm seeing armed security in theaters now, which may make sense because of some of the shootings. So, yeah, we are. We're getting in trouble as a nation, and that's something that we should be paying attention to. And it's not just us, right? And to be fair, you know, since we've got oceans on either side, we tend to get a little bit distracted with our local situation, and we sometimes don't look at the bigger situation. So let me have another article here. Let me see if I can get it to behave. And give me a second here while I argue with this nonsense. No. Okay, so anyway, Business Insider, and let me see if I can get this puppy up again. Hang on just a second here, folks. Hey, Puddle of Stone Souls, how are you? And Caribbean House, hello, hello. According to my brother in New Orleans, yes, he's seeing it locally. We don't have a Costco near here, and he said it was recent, within the last few months. Right, but we're seeing them more and more, and no, and see, and that's people are just looking for trouble to get into. But hold, hold on a second here. I lost the chat again, guys. Sorry. But yeah, it's going to be one of those situations where it's like the old popular. Yeah. So, but it's not just us; it's also our allies, countries we often thought uh, were very stable partners. And hey, ISPY, um, I spy. Sorry. Um, Germany declares natural gas shortage after Russia throttled its supply over the Ukraine war. Um, Minister said that Germany was moving into the second of its three-step emergency plan. You guys, culturally, the Germans are not known for panicking or freaking out. That's just a cultural thing there. The fact that they're already halfway through their emergency response plan means, hey, Mrs. Ghetto, hello, hello. They stopped all food exports in many countries. Yeah. And what's funny is we're not. And that absolutely agitates me. But anyway, Germany, sorry, I can't talk today. Germany declared a natural gas shortage on Thursday after Russia throttled its supply over the invasion of Ukraine. And then it said households should be protected as long as possible. The third and highest stage would see the government allocating gas to certain sectors. So that's where the government steps in and says, guess what? You don't really need all of this. Let me see if I can get this audio going. Let me know if you can hear it. Can you guys hear that? And very much so, SKM. Um, you know, the invading of Ukraine made no sense to me. Like, what the hell are you two doing? And okay, no audio. All right, let me try that again. Hang on just a second. Okay, now you should be good. Okay, thanks, I Spy. Right, and think about that. They're the largest economy in Europe. Hey, in between. What's up, Nikki? So now we're switching back to coal. So all this, oh, we're going to go green, and now they screwed everything up, and now we're going even more dirty because natural gas will burn much cleaner than coal. But lo and behold, that's now what we're dealing with because these geniuses decided it was a good idea. And thank you. I lost the chat again, guys. Sorry. So it is, I spy. It's concerning stuff. We're watching major economies because again, we can get tunnel vision in North America, right? The U.S., Canada, Mexico. We're like, oh, we're our own little thing. But yeah, this is serious, right? Even if they stop the war now, the disruption is going to go on for 8 to 12 months while they basically unscrew everything they screwed up. And this is what I'm not understanding is we're escalating, and hence this live, we're escalating some of the stuff we're doing. And let me see if I can get this one because this one, oops, that was the wrong link. Good job, Pete. So let me bring up this video because this one tells me a lot of as to where things are going to go. All of us here, well, not us in the chat, but a lot of people have this perception that the war is only on the battlefield, but that's not the case. These nations are actually hitting each other. They're hitting the people right now. And that should be concerning because that means that we're going to keep it on the battlefield between the military, or that whole concept has gone away. Let me see if I can get the video playing here. It's causing me a bit of a fit at the moment. So yeah, it didn't want to come up. So I'll pull this other one up real quick for you. So hang on just a second. Now I got screens opening everywhere, which is just silly. All right, hold on. So it is going to look like $10,000. We're going to look like Venezuela. And actually, Preppers Canal Argentina, Leandro and I've been talking because we're in such different time zones. We're going to have to coordinate. But his opinion on one of his videos was that we're headed down the same path as Venezuela and Argentina. And he said, and the fact that half our population doesn't see this, it's not like there hasn't been a collapse in socialism in the last 30 years. There have been. So there's something to look down the road and go, oh wow, look, there's that other country is all screwed up. So let me see if I can get this. I'm having some technical difficulties here, my friends. Here we go. Okay, so let me see if you guys may not let me share it. Nope. Hang on. Bear with me just a second. Here we go. Let's try that. And that's neat. Okay, so in any case, I'll read it to you. Uh, it says Ukraine Situation Report, cross-border sabotage raids and CIA operatives in Kiev. So apparently, according to this particular article, we already have operatives in country, not just for training either. When you introduce your troops into a foreign country for whatever reason, and you expose the possibility of fatalities, and once that happens, you're going to start incurring casualties, and that's going to spur public opinion against the other side. Now, it did backfire in Vietnam. People saw so many people getting killed and the fatalities that it actually backfired on that administration. But having operatives openly acknowledged in a foreign country during a war zone, that's dangerous stuff, folks. That's the kind of stuff that, here we go. Let's see if I can get this to play nicely. And it doesn't seem, man, guys, this is the weirdest shit. I pulled this thing up 3 different times to vet the article. And then all of a sudden it decides, now that I want to watch it, it says, nope, we're not going to let you do that. And that is really bizarre. Let's see if we can get this one going then. So we're going to start seeing this. We're going to start seeing these scenarios where we're going to keep introducing troops or introducing assets into a war overseas. And not every EU country is aligned with NATO. A lot of the EU countries are supporters of Putin. Okay. This is looking amazingly similar to World War I. Not every country on the left or on the right or in the north or in the south were all on the same side. So, okay, let's see if we can get this article up because the other one wouldn't play nicely. And then we can get that rolling here. Here we go. Wow, this is really caught. It won't let me share any of my articles today, guys. So what I'll do one better for you. I'll let you guys read through it. Hang on a second here. There we go. So, Russian lawmaker gives chilling details on how the Kremlin will disable the West in World War III. And he said a Russian military general turned lawmaker has detailed Kremlin's tactic if war ever breaks out. We certainly won't start from Warsaw, Paris, or Berlin. First to be hit will be London. It's crystal clear that the threat of the world comes from the Anglo-Saxons. The lawmaker said Russia would attack all space satellites and missile defense system and all NATO members nation during the first air operation. Uh, he said, I shall see what the USA will tell Western Europe on continuing their fight in the cold without food or electricity. Uh, he said it would be nuts to think Europe is invincible. So they're basically threatening to, yeah, the page won't load, guys. So sorry about that. They're basically threatening. There's a bug in here. Basically threatening to either EMP or just take out the infrastructure assets of the entirety of Europe in the hopes of knocking Europe out of the war completely. So, yeah, basically, no. The fact that they disrupted everything that way and expected it to be normal was fallacy on their part. Um, so yeah, he basically stated outright, we will take London out first. Now, whether they imply by a nuke or if they're just going to shell the shit out of it or missile the crap out of it, I don't know. But guys, that's absolutely insane to make such a blatant threat. At the same time, we have Ukraine situation report on MSN via what is called the Drive. Let me see if I can get this to play nicely with us as well. Let me know if that came up. Holy hell, I finally got it figured out. Okay. Um, Cross-border sabotage raids and CIA operatives in Kiev. That title tells you everything. Okay, so here's Russia now saying, you know what? If you guys get involved, we're going to take out London. London is saying, if you screw with Finland again, you're going to get into it with us. Finland is now trying to join NATO. Uh, Hungary actually supports Putin as opposed to the EU, but Romania doesn't. These countries are all mixed together. And I don't know about Croatia and Serbia and where they stand, but the Czech Republic and Yugoslavia apparently are facing different directions as far as this. Um, yeah, the question is, hey Rob, what's going on? Well, who's going to invade? We're good. They're going to be in a big cat fight overseas, but somebody might. China has the population size to drop 250,000 soldiers on the West Coast. Whether they can pull it off logistically with the Navy not tearing them up, a whole different question. Yeah, you look at this, though much of attention on Russia's war in Ukraine is focused on the Battle of Donbass, there's a shadow war taking place outside of the public eye. And I pointed this out in another video, is all these train derailments, all these food processing fires here in the US, the refinery fires in Russia, you know, cattle killing over in Europe. What the hell's going on? It's all happening at once. Who's to say that, somebody didn't decide, I'm going to go take an old airplane and crop dust a bunch of cattle with some chemical and they all died. I mean, I'm speculating, but this is, then you read stuff like this and you're like, maybe that's not so Alice in Wonderland, down the rabbit hole. Some CIA personnel have continued to operate in the country secretly, obviously not so secret, mostly in the capital, Kiev, directing much of the vast amounts of intelligence to Ukraine. A few dozen commandos from other NATO countries are also working inside Ukraine. It would be easy to read an article like this and for Russia to conclude, you guys are at war with me. You're just hiding the soldiers. Hey, Rip, Magic, hello. So, and I'm the only. If they can see over their masks, they may not be able to. They'll be tripping on the street. and the Frito-Lays will be gone in a heartbeat. And they will, you know, you're being facetious, but you're absolutely right too. I mean, this is a comical statement. Oh, they'll have no Cheetos, but yeah, people suddenly don't have food. Look how they've acted because of COVID lockdowns and what was seen as a police brutality and a president who was being an asshole on Twitter. Nobody was dying. Nobody was starving. And that's why a lot of my videos are focusing on the street perspective, on the situational awareness, personal defense, because it'll come unhinged in the streets first. Um, which one? The German plan, Spy? But yeah, meanwhile, a few dozen commandos from other NATO countries, including Britain, France, Canada, and Lithuania, have also been working inside Ukraine. Now, Lithuania is a particular interest because Lithuania is the country between Russia and the Kaliningrad Oblast, which is like this little carved out piece of the Baltics that still belongs to Russia. And you know, Russia took Crimea to create a land bridge. Who's to say they wouldn't do it to Ukraine, to Lithuania as well? The Times write about fighters of the Shaman Battalion, an elite unit of the Ukrainian Special Forces. Um, the exact targets are classified, but the team's forays across the border help explain how Russian oil refineries, depots, and communications have mysteriously been sabotaged. So we're seeing this across the board, friends. We're seeing the Russians making threats. Apparently, now we've all got secret operatives or special operatives in country in this place. So that's a very easy path for an escalation. Okay. So, again, going back to the economy, you have the inflation, the diesel shortages, the oil, all these refined products across the board. Remember, a barrel of oil provides gasoline, oil, butane, methane, propane, all of those chemicals, and not to mention additives for bleach, additives for aluminum, and a bunch of other plastics and industrial products. That's not to be confused with natural gas, which is methane, which is what we're using for power for the most part. So, you know, seeing these types of chemicals being reduced, we're not getting hit yet. Lucky pointed it out correctly. The reduction in availability now is going to start manifesting itself. We were talking about it a few months ago. We're now starting to see the front end of the manifestation. That's going to continue into into the coming months, and it's going to make things harder for everybody. And again, that's why, hey, farmer's son, thank you for that. Um, and Hillbilly Homesteader, how are you? That's why it's important for all of us to remember, make sure to try and stay ahead of the curve. We can't control this stuff, but if you try to stay ahead of the curve, right? Collaborate with other people in the chats, collaborate, look at different channels, right? Everyone has a different take on what we're seeing, right? So you look at Off the Wall, Angry Prepper, myself, the Milkmaid, Farmer's Son. We're all seeing different bits and pieces, but you're going to start seeing that common thread if you haven't seen it already. And that's what you want to focus on, because that common thread is something you can say, okay, this is happening. How do I get ahead of it before everyone else realizes what's happening? Now, I know it sounds a little selfish, but truthfully, a lot of people are in denial. They honestly think that it'll be better, and it's not going to be better. I do have one video I do want you guys to see, because I saw this video earlier and it floored me. And again, it goes to that topic of escalating. And let me see if I can get, okay, cool. So this is from The Guardian. Let me make sure, yes, we protect your privacy, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me know if you can see the chat. No, and things will be getting harder. And Joe brings up a good point. Consistency. It's kind of like when you go to the gym, right? It's not about doing a bunch once and then don't go to the gym again. It's about consistency and discipline. However you're doing it, whether you're preserving food, growing food, stocking food, trading it, however you're going about it, there's so many ways to approach this. Um, yeah. And so I want to show you this video because this was very telling. A lot of people think the battle is in the battlefield. This is Ukraine in a civilian area very far removed from the battlefield. And just look at the way this panned out. Let me see if this thing will play for us here. Watch, I'm going to get a stupid commercial. I don't know if there's audio. I have no idea. So, okay, that's the lake outside the mall. Did you see the shockwave go across the water? No. Boom. That dude straight up jumped into the lake. He's like, nope. This guy grabbed his little girl down here and went behind the tree. Look at those ducks. They're like, hell no. Oh, they were taking wedding pictures. Um, so that shit came home, right? For those people, they were out at a day in the park and that came home. Even if nobody throws a nuke anywhere, conventional ballistic missiles work too. Okay, you want to freak out the West Coast? Go knock the Hollywood sign off that damn hill and then blow up a mall from a submarine missile. No nukes needed. And you watch, they'll have a complete meltdown in society. The folks in that part of the world, in Ukraine and Eastern Europe, just went through what, 60, 70 years of Soviet rule and have been free relatively, what, 25 ish, 30 years since 1990, but give or take transition. How do you think Americans would handle that happening in a mall? I mean, you can throw it in the chat, but hey, off the wall, how are you? Um, no, and you can only stock so much, and that's part of the problem. Um, yeah, and off the wall, seeing it already. People are panic buying, but we've been stocking calmly and systemically for a hot minute, right? And now you literally have to take people's favorite snack. Yeah, they would behave absolutely poorly. Um, these are people who know they're in a war zone, and you saw them running, and I gotta applaud them because they didn't stick around. They saw shit was going down. The little girl, the lady with the dog, the dude threw himself in the lake, the damn ducks, everybody took off. They're like, hell no. But here in the US, we've become so accustomed to our comfort. I could easily see it becoming people freezing, people not knowing what to do. The sad truth is, every time I've seen an incident, a heart attack, a fight in a mall or in a restaurant setting, people don't know what to do. Someone drops and they stand there and look. Or even worse, they take pictures, which pisses me off. You have a freaking phone, call the ambulance. Um, it's that that video um, that was very real when you think about it, because those folks could have been any one of us, and people will stampede and trample. I'm going to go to the mall. That's where the zombies don't go, right? I saw that in Zombieland, so it's legit. Um, so hold on, I lost the chat here again. So yeah, it's and Mimi brings a good point. Not everyone in your family is going to listen. Not everyone in your friends are going to listen. But if you prepare for you and yours in your house, and they don't, you're going to have to make some difficult decisions as to whether or not you're going to be able to support them. Luna's upset because there's a storm rolling through, and she's angry about the storm. And she'll freak out and hide under the couch here later. Uh, it's gonna be a real situation if something like that pops off. And again, Russia attacking civilian targets, the U.S. and other countries admitting we have commandos and the CIA in Ukraine right now. They're escalating on each side. And my fear is that the end result will be what happened at this mall. They're going to start hitting each other at home. Those of you who came a little later, the article I read was one of the Russian foreign ministers who said the first thing we're going to do is take London out, not Paris, not Berlin. We're going to take London out. The U.S. is too damn far, and London's kind of like the team leader of this mess you have in Europe. Uh, and I told someone this years ago. You want to terrorize people in the modern world? Don't blow up the world. You can blow up the World Trade Center again or blow up the Statue of Liberty. That would be sad, but you won't cause a lot of casualties because it's that thing over there. Blow up some Walmarts, blow up some malls like these guys did, where everyone goes every week to go purchase something and watch the freak out. And unfortunately for folks like us, hey, Texas Redleg, that's going to be very dangerous. It's going to be problematic. So, why are they doing this? Why are they escalating? I don't know. And then this article came up today, and that absolutely annoyed me because what in heaven's name are we doing now? So, we already covered electrical grid. You don't even have to take out the whole grid. Hey, Klingon, you wouldn't even need to take out the whole grid. You would simply need to take out sections of grid and put LA in the dark for 2 weeks. Or put California in the dark, take out the Hoover Dam, whatever the hell target it is. And you take out a swath of the country and everyone else will flip out. But this one is concerning because this one, so everything I've shown you till now, the CIA, the commandos, the verbal threats, Russia could always claim, oh, well, the missile was errant. It missed the target and hit them all. We were aiming at some other crap, right? But this now becomes more realistic. Hold on, let me show you this one. So for those of you unfamiliar with the airborne units, let me see if it'll come up here. Nope, it wants to play. It does not want to play now. For whatever reason, it just decided not to be nice. Hang on just a second. Let me see if this will come up. So essentially, I may have to throw this link in there too for whatever reason. Oh, there it is. Fort Campbell soldiers from 2nd Brigade deploy for a very important mission in Europe. What they have done is systemically put American and well, it's what they did 9/11. The Patriot Act, everyone applauded at the time, turned out to be an absolute authoritarian law. But yeah, so what they've done, and thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. Fort Campbell soldiers from the 2nd Brigade deploy for incredibly important mission to Europe. For those of you unfamiliar, that's where the 101st Airborne is. So elements from the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 101st Headquarters, and Headquarters Battalion of the Airborne Division have been assigned to NATO for 9 months. We have units already publicly released in Poland, Romania, Estonia, and Latvia, and the Brits are in there, the French, the Germans. So what Putin's doing is putting the screws to Germany and France economically using fuel. He's threatening to knock England out of the fight because he knows he can turn off the lights on Germany and screw them. They've thought this out, but now we're blatantly we're going to check Russian influence, and we're going to impact the Russians' decision-making process for the next 20 years, said Colonel John Lubis, Deputy Commanding Officer for Operations. So if any one of these nations gets attacked, you're going to have what's called a tripwire unit. We have them in Taiwan right now, which is part of the reason for hesitancy on China's part. They know there are American and Australian units in Taiwan. They don't want to go and do that because they know that's going to start a fight, at least not till they're ready for that fight. So they're going to lay off Taiwan. Now, it doesn't indicate where the guys are going or anything like that. So obviously that's under wraps. But yeah, folks, they're escalating on both sides. They're starting to hit. I like that. They're starting to hit First Marines. The First Marines are out there somewhere too, but I don't know where. I'm assuming they're in the Pacific side, like they were during World War II, which is pretty much the Marines' playground. This is the ocean. But you guys think about this. They're escalating. We're pouring all these resources into a war to try and stall the Russian Federation. It's not just Russia. It's Russia, Chechnya, Belarus. They're getting support from, I believe it was Hungary. These countries will not all be on the same side. So if something pops off, it's going to look like World War One again, where all these nations are just going to be all mixed together like a big cat fight. It will ultimately hurt the economics here. So you saw when I started, I try to do things logically. I started with the economic forecast from those economists and what they're seeing and what they're saying. Hey, this economy we have right now is worse than Jimmy Carter's, even adjusted for inflation. It's worse. But then these nations seem to be doing everything in their power to piss each other off. Now you're seeing open admissions of special operatives in the war zone, open admissions of moving uniformed troops into nations on the outskirts of the war, and Russia blatantly threatening to take out London and hitting civilian targets. It's starting to spiral in a way I don't like. And there's nothing really here we can do about it, but understanding what's happening there puts you in a position to make decisions now 4, 8, 6, 12 weeks, whatever it is, ahead of everyone else. Because the day we get into it in Europe, Russia's not going to just fight over there. Russia's going to come and start sinking shit in New York Harbor. They're going to sink ships in LA Harbor. They're going to try to take a pot shot at the Louisiana refineries or the Baytown ones in Houston. That's going to bring it home. And I don't think the general populace, if it goes that way, is going to handle that. They're not going to handle that very well. I saw Hutch come in. Hey, Hutch, how you been? I'm not getting your notifications anymore, amigo. I looked, I'm still subscribed, but it was just like, nah. I actually went to look. I thought you were, yeah, pew pew food or pew pew and food. Either way, you can put the comma in there or leave it out. Both are absolutely correct. Yeah, absolutely. It's 100%. So, silver and lead. Yeah. So folks, and again, I think Joe, was it Joe who pointed out, maybe, maybe not. They could certainly blame each other for it, but just to make a message, well, okay, my thought is Russia might start it, and then our government will be, well, for your protection, we will do the following, and all of a sudden we're all screwed. That I can see happening. Well, I covered that really early in the video. Yes, we have refineries. The CIA, they're actually saying the CIA is teaching the Ukrainians how to do these raids in Russia across the border, not right on the border like the nearby towns in there. So who's to say that they're not already operatives here? We had how many illegal immigrants try to sneak through the border? 100,000 this last quarter or more. Don't tell me we caught them all, because we know we didn't. And they're not all like everyone thinks, oh, they're from Mexico. Actually, Mexican workers can get a visa very easily for work, for seasonal work. Like that's been going on for years. But they're stopping them from Ukraine, Russia, India, China, Pakistan, Afghanistan. It's actually like the South American immigrants are like, those guys don't speak Spanish. You need to talk to them, you know? And then the Border Patrol finds a guy who came in from Russia. There's no reason to believe they hadn't already been here. And that, hey, Heroic, what's going on? Mad Shad, hello, hello. So folks, then, yeah, sleepers, absolutely. And somebody put sleepers, but the chat zipped by again. There we go. Thank you, Lucky. Right. And Iran is already spinning up the high-end uranium processing plants. Israel has told them, if you keep doing that, we're going to attack you. And Israel recently had a war game, and I couldn't find the article earlier. They recently had a war game where they went and invaded and attacked Iran, right? We always think of Israel like fighting Hezbollah and Hamas, attacking their border areas to secure their country. No, this exercise was an expeditionary exercise. They ran a war game to go and hit Iran. And according to the article, they were being resupplied in the exercise by Saudi and Egyptian forces. Saudi and Iran do not get along. That is some ancient hatred between those two countries. Those two have been fighting each other for 1,000 years, and it hasn't changed. And Israel is looking to kick the crap out of Iran. They don't like each other. You could very easily see that World War One phenomenon where you wind up with a large scale conflict involving overlapping sub conflicts, and that could turn to garbage very quickly. They're trying to, is what I heard. They may have. I heard that I've been hearing about BRICS being pulled out. Right. It's not normal. It's not normal to see that. There are industrial fires all the time. I've seen drilling rigs catch fire. I've seen the damn windmills, the big ass windmills malfunction and they overheat and poof, you have flaming windmill. And I don't know how you put that out because it's like 300 feet in the air. They just kind of like a helicopter starts dumping shit on it. But those things happen. But that many processing plants, 10,000 cattle just keeling over spontaneously, that's weird as shit. I don't know. That's a good question, Alan. I couldn't answer that one. It's BRICS is Brazil, Russia, China, Iran. No, Brazil, Russia, India, China. I forgot the last one. But I think now China's, yeah, they are kind of hilarious to watch because thank you, Milkmaid. South Africa, yes. Yeah, and Off the Wall's been covering this too. 38 million birds have been culled. There's a lot going on that's pressuring the supply chain, and it seems, and regardless of whether we agree who's doing what, we all know something's going on. We see the pattern happening. Well, that's another one. Who's to say if the food situation gets bad that China won't say, well, we're going to steal something from India, and those two get into it. Um, yeah, no, and these are the things we absolutely have to be cognizant of. We have to be aware that um, this is going to affect us here. We can't change what's happening overseas. Okay, Off the Wall. So, guys, check out Off the Wall special from this morning. I was in conference calls all day, so I haven't seen hers or his, but Off the Walls. I forgot what it's called. Let me see if I can find it real quick, and I'll throw it out there. If I can bring it up. Hang on a second. I saw the alert go by. I'm actually still getting Off the Walls notifications. Uh, YouTube left me on Hutches, but won't give me notifications. So yeah, it won't let me do it. So yeah, I'm not sure. I really don't know. But you'd think the ranchers, normally like ranchers out here, if they see cattle start to drop, they'll move the herd away. They call the veterinarian out. The ranch hands separate the herds. They use the fire trucks to hose down the cattle. They move them to cooler areas. And yeah, yeah. Lucky just put Off the Walls links. So yeah, check that one out. Puddle, I was there in 2021, and from where the rock turns light from the water bleaching it to where the water was already 250 feet, and that was a year and change ago. I can't imagine what it looks like now. So I did see Deepwood Studios, so maybe that's what the thing is. It's one account versus the other. Off the wall, type in syringe with today's filter. Yeah, it's yeah, so what do you do, right? What can we do to make sure that we're being taken care of in our friends or family? One, guys, if you're already talking to people and saying, hey, look at all this, like show them the links, and they have nothing to say, they're like, oh well, it'll get fixed. You may not be able to do anything for them. Sadly. If it gets that bad, you may just not want to take calls from certain people you know will be a burden to you. Um, Take care, Loretta, and thank you. Loretta's on a canning run right now. Okikon, it's Lucky just posted Off the Walls link up above somewhere. But it's possible. They're just Everyone's having a big cat fight right now. And what we're seeing is these power players fighting it out at our expense. So, folks, what do? Make sure you maintain your vehicles as much as you can. Make sure you have tires. If you don't need them yet, but you may need them soon, you may want to order them now so that it's in the process, so that you have them if you need them. Get your oil changes done. Don't let things lag. If you have food that hasn't quite expired yet, donate it. And if you can afford to refill it and you can actually find it, do that. So you have the freshest cans available or the freshest product available in the event something happens. If you're in the stock market, change your position, get a little more conservative with it. Um, Energy stocks won't stay high forever, but everything else may not stay low. We don't know. Uh, but also upgrade your skill sets. right? A lot of local fire departments will teach first aid. If you don't know how to apply a tourniquet in an emergency, you may want to learn that. Even if you have to buy one from the store and put a YouTube video and put a tourniquet on yourself or on your sibling or whoever. Um, Matt Chad, hello, sir. Uh, this is true. First, first in, first out. Absolutely. If you have liquor, those little sizes, definitely. All right, good deal. Be good, tactical. Um, yeah, and Lucky is absolutely right. You may have to start just distancing yourself from people you care for. Mad Shad's right. CPR classes are everywhere. So upgrade your skills. There's a lot of stuff you can do for free. Hayes Gray Prepper emailed me, and he has a channel, but he has nothing on it yet. He told me that he was able to still get the little freezer packs from the local grocery store. He just went to the frozen food section and said, "Hey, those little gel packs, you put them, have to dispose of them because they're exposed to the meat." And he said, "Can I take them?" And they're like, "Yeah, just wash them, don't get sick." And he took them, he cleaned them with Dawn, and he stuck them in his freezer. I believe Hayes Gray was the one who emailed me that. Um, a lot of bakeries are selling their food grade buckets for cheap, you know, 2, 3, $5. Even Firehouse Subs, you can donate $5 to the Firemen's Charity, and they give you one of their pickle buckets, which stink to high heaven. So you got to put bleach and make it go away. Uh, there's a lot of stuff. Cycle, go through your preps now, go through your foods. If you have pews or any other toys like that, maintain them, pull them apart, function check them. If you can take them to the range, reacquaint yourself with the various pews you may have. If you have more than one vehicle, drive both vehicles, get familiar with those vehicles again. You know, I drive one, Sassy drives another, but every now and then we'll switch, usually out of necessity, but it's not bad to do that. So, you know, if in an emergency you got to grab someone else's car and go, you remember how the hell to drive it where all the controls are, and you're not trying to find the high beams at 2 in the morning or something like that. Yeah. And then if you add one of those third party gamma lid knockoffs, that's another $7. If you order it on Amazon, that same setup's going to be $30. So that's gummies. Actually, something to be said about gummies. Dope cars. So sachets of sugar, yes. I save the little sugar packets, sweetener packets. I have some in my truck because they forget to give them to me, and I can put it in my drinks. But saving those little airline looking liquor bottles, get some of those as well, folks. So yeah, there's a lot of options you have. Tractor Supply is 5 gallon and Gamma for about 14 a setup. That's not a bad price either. So so make sure you take those steps now, because the general public is just now starting to see it. As Off the Wall pointed out, as I pointed out about the security increases at the stores out here in the country, Off the Wall's pointing it out. The general populace is just now starting to realize that a shit show may happen. You don't want to get caught in the stores when they freak out. You want to be at home, let them freak out, and then you can go later and see if you missed anything. Um, but hey, ghetto, ¿qué tal, amigo? So, but ladies and gentlemen, we are at an hour and 10 minutes. So I'm going to wrap this one up. But folks, they're escalating on both sides, while at the same time, our economists are saying, hey, you have a major, major problem coming. things are not right. Even Steve Forbes, the Stephen Forbes from Forbes Financial Magazine and Forbes Investing, has said this is not good. It's going to get ugly the second half of the year. Put yourself in that position where you're ahead of the curve. So, yeah, if you have any kind of skills, uh, and folks, go get the training, go watch videos, read books. There's so many things you can do for free to keep you ahead of the curve. We can't stop the train wreck. Hopefully, it doesn't happen. But if we can't stop it, we can stay ahead of it. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, like and subscribe, all that blah, blah, give me likes. But there were a bunch of great channels in the chat. I think Lucky and Loretta were posting their links. If you haven't subbed to them, especially like Lucky Dame, Redleg, Kentucky Survival, Off the Wall, Hutch. Hutch has new channels, so I'm not sure. Mad Shad. Um, Go subscribe to them. Listen to what they have to say. Everyone has a different take. Take it with a grain of salt. But if you can take 5% of each of us and make your own approach, more power to you. Guys, God bless, Godspeed out there. It's getting super interesting, and hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully it's just a bad market. But if I'm not, stay ahead of the curve, folks. Y'all be good.